Have you heard about Twitter's new feature, Communities? If not, I am not surprised, because they are not that easy to find. Today I will show you how you can join a community on Twitter. But before we do that, I want to talk about what communities are. Hejsan hej, I am PixelPia. And as I said, communities are not that easy to find. It is a relatively new feature. It started in September 2021, about 6 months ago, and it has slowly expanded from there. So let's start by taking a look at Twitter's help section to see what they say about communities. And they say Twitter communities were created to give people a dedicated place to connect, share, and get closer to the discussions they care about most. The closest to compare to is probably groups on Facebook. Communities are started and managed by people on Twitter, admins and moderators who enforce community rules and keep conversations informative, relevant, and fun. People who accept invites to join a community become members. Tweets in communities can be seen by anyone on Twitter, but only others within the community itself can engage and participate in the discussion. The information I share with you today will change over time because they are still changing how communities are presented and how you can join and who can start a community. So have that in mind. Take a look here at my Twitter feed, my home feed. If we look to the left here, I have communities. If you are on your phone and that phone is an iOS phone, you will probably, all iOS by now, have the little symbol with 2 people at the bottom of your screen. I know they have just started to roll out this function on Android as well, but on my Android phone I still haven't found it. The problem with this is that this didn't show up on my web page until I joined my first community. So how do we find communities? I found that the absolute easiest way was to go to this help center and search for communities. And as you see at the bottom of this introduction to communities is follow us at Hi Communities, which is Twitter's official community about communities. And you have a link down here. The absolute easiest way to follow your first community is to follow Hi Communities. I also recommend that if you will stay up to date with the development of communities. And here we are at Twitter Communities. And after I followed that, this showed up on my homepage, Communities. And how do you find other communities? Well, when you have this and you click on that link, and let's open it in a new tab here, you end up on this page, Communities, and they have Discover. And this, as I said, is supposed to be driven by common interests. So we can use the search function on top here. Let's search for Sweden. And here we have a few, not many. Let's search for something that probably is more popular. Let's search for art. And now we have a lot of different communities. Some of them are open and some of them are closed and you have to apply. Let's try one here. Sci Art Twitter. This is one you have to ask to join. This is one, I don't know this language, but this is one where you have just a join button, so you don't have to ask to join it. And how do you start a community? Let's go back to the beginning of the help center and let me show you. I'm searching for communities, and the first thing we see is a community interest form. This is where you can apply if you want to start a a community. I personally think that Twitter communities can be something very interesting, since you really nail down what you are interested in to discuss on Twitter. I also think that this is just the beginning.